It is January, but already starting to thank baseball here on the show with the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame announcing their 2025 induction class, and they'll be honoring and celebrating those inductees on January 31st with their banquets. And you can buy tickets by going to their website, ksbaseballhof.com. Again, that website, ksbaseballhof.com. With us on the show today, one of the board of advisors for the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame, Jim Kobbe. Hey, Jim, appreciate you coming on the show. Excited to talk some baseball with you. But I guess also excited to say, thank you to you. I mean, there's probably just a couple of people in my career, in my profession, like especially when I was just getting started, that made a really big impact on me. And you're one of those guys, and able to intern with you at a television station there in Wichita when I was in college, and able to shadow you and learn from you was a great experience. So forever thankful to you.
Well, Cole, you had to say that, of course. But hey, you're a good intern, man. You've always had a good sports head, and I'm so pleased that you've had and are having a long broadcasting career. You've outshone me already, for sure.
That's not the truth. You're one of the best. For you, like, how did you get involved with the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Well, so let me go way back to before me. 1939 is when the Kansas Baseball Association first started inducting Halls of Fame classes. And so they inducted a class every year. And by the time, the 1990s are rolling around, there's a gentleman, an ex-big leaguer named Owen Friend, who was the longtime president at that point. And Owen asked to involve me, and I emceed one of their banquets. And, at that point, a friend of mine, Dennis Higgins, also a broadcaster for Butler, he and I decided that we would get active and involved in the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. So that was 20 years ago. And, we've tried to help along the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame, modernize it a little bit. We now have our website, ksbaseballhof.com, that you mentioned. And a few years ago, we lost our physical exhibit. So the website is so critical to us right now. We're very proud of it. We hope that people will go to it and just check it out, because we've got pretty good bios of all 270 of our members. And there are just some tremendous stories of the people that are in the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. And I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, you talk about those stories, and I mean, this class no different, Jim. I mean, you start out with, at the top of that list, Beals Becker, an El Dorado guy, and had his MLB career, and then is able to come back to Kansas City, play with the Blues, and special one to get inducted.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. He was born in El Dorado, actually went to a military school in Missouri his high school years, and then where he really had his breakout was with the legendary Wichita Jobbers team. In 1907. I always want to check my dates on that. And he went directly from the Wichita Jobbers to the major leagues. And he spent 8 years in the big leagues. And in fact, there is a Sabre paper that just came out recently that said if there was an MVP award in the National League in 1913, Beals Becker would have been it.
Wow.
So, he's an interesting guy and a good ball player. We're talking about, he was born in 1886. So Beals, very happy that he served his 150 years to finally get into the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. We go back and right wrongs, and it's hard to believe that Beals Becker was not already in our Hall of Fame. And the rest of the lineup this year, we think is excellent as well. Nate Cornejo, who I think a lot of your listeners will recognize that name because he was a standout at Wellington High School. As a matter of fact, now he is the pitching coach at Wellington High School. And he won a state championship. He and his brothers pitched the Crusaders to a state championship in 1995. And then he went directly, he was drafted in the first round, went directly then into pro ball, and was very soon in the major leagues. Unfortunately, his major league career was cut short. He spent only 3 seasons in the big leagues. He had an injury, and he also pitched for some very, very bad Detroit Tigers teams.
Yeah.
But still, hey, 3 seasons in the big leagues, nothing to sneeze about for Nate Cornejo. Bob Fornelli is our third inductee, And he's a guy that I know that you'll recognize, of course, because he's been all over the state as a college coach. He played at Emporia State, coached at Emporia State, coached at Fort Hays State, and then he coached at Pittsburgh State. He's the all-time winningest coach at ESU and Fort Hays State, and he is the second all-time winningest coach at Pittsburgh State, 1,130 total wins for Bob Fornelli.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're excited to bring him in. He just retired, so after 35 years in coaching, so he'll be on hand to be inducted. Travis Hafner, we're inducting. So, Travis is not born in Kansas. We honor those who were born in Kansas and also those who made their contribution in baseball in Kansas. So Travis Hafner is actually from North Dakota, but he came to Cowley, and he played 2 years for Coach Dave Burrows at Cowley, and helped the Tigers to a national championship in 1997. You may recall they won back-to-back there. He was there for the first one, and probably the greatest player in Cowley program history. And then he had a 13-year major league career, mainly with the Cleveland Indians. Had some terrific seasons, had a 4-year run where he gained MVP votes every year. Really a great power hitter 20 years ago in the big leagues. Don Carnes is our next inductee, and Carnes is a really interesting guy. He started the high school baseball program at Baxter Springs. And, Baxter Springs is kind of synonymous with baseball in Kansas because of the Whiz Kids, where Mickey Mantle played. But hey, Don Carnes started the program in 1981 and then immediately started winning state championships. He won 5 of them. He also coached girls basketball there at Baxter. And interestingly, after his coaching career wound down, he donated the land and then was the driving force behind what they call the Field of Dreams, Don Carnes Stadium. It's right there on Route 66 in Baxter Springs. You see it when you go through town, and it is a tremendous baseball and softball complex for Baxter Springs. 2 more inductees. Bob Veal is going to be inducted, and Bob Veal is another guy kind of forgotten about. He was a great pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 70s, one of the fastest fastballs in the majors. And, he was a perennial strikeout leader in the National League. And interestingly, he came from Birmingham, Alabama to go to St. Benedict's College, which is now Benedictine in Atchison. And he played basketball there and also played baseball there at St. Benedict's. So Bob Veal will be inducted into the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame, rightfully so. He played 3 years at St. Benedict's. And our final inductee is a team. We started doing this a few years ago, and we're looking for great Kansas teams that have gone in. We have 16 in the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. So this is the Leavenworth Booker T's of the 1920s. And they were a prison team. And interestingly, this is quite a story. And a historian who sits on our board, Bob Reeves, is the guy who really brought this to light. And there's a story that he and his son wrote, and it's on the National Archives website. But anyway, the wardens at that point in time, in the teens and 20s, were trying to figure out ways to make their prison population behave better. And so one of the things they turned to was baseball. And of course, the country was baseball crazy back in the teens and 20s. And so interestingly, they formed teams based on their racial alliances within prisons. So you would have a Hispanic team, you would have a Caucasian team, you would have a black team. And so the Leavenworth Booker T's were the black team at Leavenworth Prison, and they were great. They won everything, including the state semi-pro championship in 27, 28, and 29. And while they had players coming into the prison population who had played in the Negro Leagues, they had 4 guys who had never played organized baseball, but because of the Booker T's, they were able to go on to the Negro Leagues. Yeah, so it's quite a story, and that's one of the great things about the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame. You know, I've been around Kansas sports all my life, and I learn everything. I learn so much every year. The new stories and the people that we kind of uncover for the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame.
You talk about your archives, Jim. Like, what goes into that, that selection process when you put together these really good classes?
Well, we have a board of advisors, and right now that's 8 people, and we are based here in Wichita. And we keep a running list of all nominees. So anybody can nominate. Please go to the website, ksbaseballhof.com, and nominate anybody that you think is worthy. We would love for you to attach any information you know about them. But I'm kind of our researcher. So for everybody that's on our list, and we have probably 30 people on our list for next year already. I write bios of each of them, and then our group gets together, we discuss, and then we go back to our own corners, come back in a couple weeks, and vote once everybody's had the chance to, really absorb all the information. So it's always difficult because we have many more people than deserve it, and then also, you have Beals Becker and Bob Veal. Why weren't they in this Hall of Fame years ago? So we have to right wrongs also. But it makes it fun. And we've had a lot of great players, come to our banquet in Wichita to be inducted. And, it's a lot of fun.
Hey, Jim, appreciate it, and best of luck, and enjoy the banquet coming up.
Thank you, Cole. And hey, if you want to come down to Wichita, I'll bet we could maybe find a ticket for you. And also, good luck to you in this podcast. If I can ever do anything for you, please give me a holler. And everybody, please check out ksbaseballhof.com.
One of the greats, Jim Kobbe, with us here, one of the board of advisors for the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame.